Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 13 of the Conspiracy Cantina. I am one of your hosts, Jedi Master Depaul, and we have my dyad, brother from another mother, xcoregamerskillz. What's going on, sir?
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to our new night and time.
Yes. So, new night and time. We had some, I wouldn't say technical difficulties, but we had some miscommunications. Totally forgot because of real life stuff. We had to change the date and time. And here we are, though. Here we are. So, for those who were here early, we do apologize. Thank you for showing back up. People in the chat, we love you guys. We love your support. Thank you. I really, we won't say I do appreciate you, but I know that me and myself and my brother Dyad, xcoregamerskillz, do appreciate you. So, with that, we have a interesting topic tonight. So, and I think it might get deep, but it's a good one. I know that one because it makes sense. It's going to hit home for just in life general with Star Wars. So we do have a guest, a special guest. If you are a part of the Star Wars TikTok community, you will know this man. He's an awesome person. So we're going to bring him in here, allow him to introduce himself. He does a lot. I'll tell you this. Here's a little sneak peek of, well, not sneak peek, but a little tip of, if you guys can guess who he is. He does a lot of good art for a lot of Star Wars TikTok creators, and he's damn good at it too. So we want to give some love to this man, bringing him and just thank him for being a guest, honored guest on the Cantina. So let's bring this person in right now, and here he is.
Hey guys, thank you.
What's going on?
Thank you so much for that. Very heartwarming. It's always good to be validated like that.
Nice. Hey man, you deserve it. We do appreciate you being on here as a guest and bringing what you're going to bring to the Cantina. So if you guys don't know, I'm gonna let him introduce himself, but he's a great person. Pat, please introduce yourself to the people for those who don't know who you are.
Well, I'm Pat. I go by Saint Pat of Starfleet on TikTok. That's where I do my content's really the only place. I'm starting to get on Twitter, but it's a slow adjustment. But mostly on for my content on TikTok, it's a mixture of art series in Marvel and Star Wars, as well as just meme funny jokes on Star Wars, and I'm trying to move into more history parallel series of Star Wars right now. I got a lot of interesting stuff planned. And my mutuals have seen that video.
Okay, all right, that's what's up.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, yeah, there's a topic.
There's a topic. That's what's up, man. And you know what? That's what's nice about this, and it's just Star Wars in general, and the community itself, is that you can relate so many things to it, and people have everybody has something different to give to it.
Exactly. Like I'm a Egyptologist by undergrad training.
Okay.
And I'm currently in my master's program to become a social studies teacher for high school, and so I'm like, I've been trying to diversify my content, and I'm like, and grow my following. So I've been trying to find an interesting topic. I'm like, hello, Patrick, you're a historian.
There you go. You are literally a lore master.
A real life lore master.
That's real life lore master. So, all right, cool. So, before we dive into this, the parallel, I can't say damn words, between history and Star Wars, let's go ahead and thank the chat for showing up and being here. Just want to say thank you guys. I know we got Jordy Jedi was here at the beginning, and thank you for being here early, and thanks for coming back. So we do appreciate you. Darthman, always a favorite and always here showing that support. Appreciate you, man. Love you guys. So yeah, I mean it's I oh who else? We got Isaac. What's going on, man? Welcome, Grim Skull. Hey, Padawan Podcast. What's going on? Let's go. That's what's up. Hey, man, we appreciate all you guys for being here. Um, and yeah. So we're gonna dive into this one, and just hopefully everything's working good. I'm getting that signal that my connection's unstable, but I don't think it is.
Your audio is good though. Your video is a little iffy, but your audio is good.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. I might have you take over, and I might back out of it and then back in. But yeah, no, for sure.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. No problem. So I didn't do talking points this week because for those of you who know me, I got a new job and it's been killing me. So we're just gonna freeform this here. I think like the biggest thing that like everybody knows is that the OT specifically was sort of an allegory or parallel for the Vietnam conflict. And I mean George is on record in some fairly famous interviews for saying that. So why don't we start there, Pat?
All right, we'll start there. And I just love it because most parallels you see about Vietnam War, or most perspectives you see on Vietnam War, is very much taken from the American capitalistic point of view. But with George, he was like, no, there's two sides, especially in a conflict that was just a part of a bigger conflict in the Cold War. And it was just, so he chose the rebels to be from the perspective of the Viet Cong, and it's really great because I the Viet Cong were rebelling against the Democratic Party in government of Vietnam because the U.S. basically said, I will not sign this treaty to allow democratic votes in Vietnam for reunification. And so the Communist Party of Vietnam wasn't going to arrive like in government power like it had most around the world at this time. Most it's through violent revolution, but because the Viet Cong had worked so hard and was the main driving force against the decolonization of Vietnam and the French after World War II, most of that violent uprising and violent influence of the Communist Party was put in that direction. And so by the time it got to the reunification, it was very much more a political party that was stabilized and had goals. And Ho Chi Minh was a very educated, very intelligent man. He was at the Treaty of Versailles talks at the end of World War One, trying to get independence for Vietnam and establish as a Western democracy. The reason he chose communism is because after the Japanese occupation of Vietnam, and then the French going right back into being a colonialist power of Vietnam, he didn't see another way to back it if the Western democracies weren't going to back him. And so it's very good because I've always read the separatist and republic wars as a war of anti-colonialism.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I want to ask you a question while we're talking about like communism in general because I haven't studied Ho Chi Minh or his philosophy. Now, in respects to what was going on since the Bolshevik Revolution, I don't call that communism. I call it authoritarian socialism, and I think there's a very real distinction to be made there. How do you feel about that?
So what we nowadays define communism and define as communism and define as capitalism is very much affected by the Cold War and Cold War sentiments, ideals, and attitudes. Um, in my opinion, I don't think a true communist government could ever form, just because it would either lead into a totalitarian government like it did with the USSR, or it would collapse from no economic growth. Because
Right. Have you read any of Das Kapital?
the Marxist Manifesto.
Yes.
Yes, I read. I took a class on Western civilization at the time of the formation of the Communist Manifesto. And I read the whole thing.
Right, because
It's a
he
very
makes
good.
it a very clear distinction that it's not a form of government; it's an economic policy.
It's economic policy that is guided by government regulation.
Right.
So what the okay? There are three different types of economic systems. You have communism, you have a mixed government, and you have capitalism. Communism is the government, heavy regulation by the government, and they monitor quality and what is made and give exact descriptions saying this company is going to make this company will make this, these factories will make this, and it's produced for what exactly people need. There's no competition. There is no out of government growth in the economic system. Whereas with capitalism, it's free. It's a free market. There's no government regulation. There is no quality control. It's heavy competition. People always out trying to do each other with a new product. And then mixed economics is where you have some regulation with some free market, which technically, if you go by that definition, America has been a mixed economy since 1930.
Yeah, and
Even before then, since after, I would say the Teddy Roosevelt and not Ulysses, but the Taft presidencies.
Taft, yeah. And it's very interesting because, in a way, if you really look at it, and especially what caused the Great Depression, was unfettered capitalism, which, if you ask me, unfettered capitalism leads to a non-free market in the first place. Sort of like if you look at what's going on now, you have three companies that control everything.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's like I'm of the personal opinion that a free market can't actually exist because it always leads to the same sort of thing.
Yeah. In a completely free market economy, there's no safeguards against monopolies and trusts, and
and then once you have a monopoly, the market's not free. It's Rockefeller.
Mm-hmm.
Rockefeller got so big that he just drove everybody else out of the market. Microsoft did the same thing until they got split up because they just ended up killing anything that wasn't theirs. JavaScript and a couple other things come to mind. Actually, that was a big thing. They drove Java out of business.
Oh, Microsoft did?
Yeah. They basically they made it so that it was incredibly hard to use Microsoft JavaScript until it became freeware on any Windows systems.
Good point.
And then back in the days of Windows XP, they embedded Internet Explorer into their file system to keep other web browsers from working.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Microsoft did?
Yeah. Bill Gates is a shady motherfucker.
Like, how long ago did they do this?
It was back during like Windows 98.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, with the VC being
sorry. So I was just gonna say, so I'm actually for TikTok series, a couple of series of videos. I'm actually taking a look because Darthman put it down of the Vietnam War within the prequels and sequels. I'm actually looking right now at expanding the Vietnam War parallel into the prequel series by taking a look at the history before the actual Vietnam War and seeing and looking at the parallels out. So that will be coming out, but just an overview of it. I'm looking at the occupation of Vietnam by Japan. I'm looking at the Clone Wars as a war of anti-colonialism against the Outer Rim, going against the colonialist government of the Republic, and then the episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, would basically cover the political turmoil between the Communist Party and the Democratic Party of Vietnam, and the political shadiness that went on with that in America about having no free elections.
And I think there's some interesting parallels to be made too with how George used the Third Reich imagery and ideology in the Empire. There's some interesting stuff going on there, especially with obviously the stormtroopers and things like that.
Oh, the concept of moths come right from, I forget the Nazi terminology for it, but Nazi Party split Germany up into sectors, and each had different high-ranking officials going over it, and basically like the space sectors of the moths and governors in the Empire. And then I have a very interesting parallel about the Empire and Order 66. If you guys want to ever get into it.
Yeah.
If I don't know where your line of thread is. I told you, like, I have a list that stands from World War II to the fall of the Roman Republic to the Eastern Bloc and Eastern Germany.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like, so I know George was thinking a lot about the Bush Cheney presidency when he wrote the prequels, but like there's also parallels, some pretty big ones to sort of how Caesar took power by taking over the Republic. It's a little different because Sheev was a politician and not a general at first, but he used Anakin to do it.
Oh no, it's exactly, the parallel is amazing because the way he sets up the Republic government almost one for one parallels the structure of the Roman Republic, and I have it listed right here. So the structure of the Republic, the Roman Republic, is you had one legislative body, a major one, which would be the Senate. Then the heads of states would be two consuls. They were in. So the Senate would be in charge of legislative duties, civil and military, and money, and all the duties that go with that. And the consuls were the figureheads of the state. They were the face. They were in charge of the military, and they were also in charge of the judicial branch. And we see in the prequels, Sheevy gets put in charge of the military, not the Senate. He's the one that's leading the military. He leads the Senate. He oversees it, advises it here and there, and just structures the meetings. And then in the Ahsoka arc, when she's on trial, we see him presiding over the judiciary branch. I don't know if that's just part of his emergency powers, but for the Roman consul, they would also be in charge of judicial powers.
Well, yeah, and that's sort of exactly what Caesar did. Like was it the Gauls or the Vandals? Like
Gauls. Vandals were fall of Empire. Gauls were Caesar's enemies. The main focus.
And so he sort of was just like, oh, there's a huge enemy. I'm going to grant myself emergency powers, and then I'm just not giving them back.
Well, that's not. So what happens is Caesar fights against the Gauls during his term as general in Caesar, and he basically commits genocide against the Gauls, which is I'm not a classics person. I'm either ancient history or modern history. I am not, so I can't expand on that. But then he gets the Senate elects him. He gets part of this power of three other generals. He gets elected as a consul by the Senate, and these three, him and three Pompey and another general is basically running the Senate illegally and just using their status. And then there's a civil war between Pompey and Caesar, and Caesar wins. And so the Senate makes him a triumphant, a dictator, with the explicit instructions and for 10 years. And the explicit reason they gave is to restore the Republic, which, if you go back to Attack of the Clones, when Jar Jar puts the motion on to give Palpatine emergency powers, he says, "I will restore the Republic" in his speech.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then he just doesn't.
Nope.
And
So-
it's a very interesting parallel too, because the thing, like with Anakin, so Caesar didn't want it to be a monarchy in the typical sense, so he chose. Um, no, actually, Caesar got killed, but all the other emperors of Rome chose a successor that wasn't blood related.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's a,
the Romans had a very, very hard mentality against kings in general from their history before the Republic. And so when Caesar became dictator, he made sure to distance himself from the term Rex, Latin for king. And all these kings were oppressive. So Caesar enacted tons of social reforms and social programs for the people of Rome, and then the later Roman Empire was just built on that. Of course, most became tyrannical because that's just the way power works.
yeah.
Okay. So are we saying that Palpatine represents, or it has the most similar to or parallel to Caesar?
No, Palpatine is definitely your Hitler and your Stalin.
There you go.
And because I mean, personally, if she would have lasted in power a lot longer if he didn't focus so much on military and force of power and stuff. If he had made the empire after executed Order 66, made the empire, and then just started all these social programs for the people who were affected by the Clone Wars and they got ignored during the Republic, that would have granted him so much public favor and so much public power that he wouldn't. The rebellion would have been so much harder to. But of course, he doesn't, because Darkseid's all selfish and it doesn't think like that.
Yeah, and he's the parallels to Stalin are very interesting because he did a lot of the same things that Stalin did. He just like he would pit his people against each other and make them fight each other, and they were constantly vying for power within their own ranks so that he didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and then he has one loyal number two, and so he's good.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Until he pushed number two a little too hard.
Yeah, no, but no. If the parallels between Caesar and Hitler and the mixture of the parallels together really make it hard for you to say, oh, Palpatine is, until you know he's the emperor, is ethically bad, because it just feels like democracy at work. You don't. It's hard to tell because you have that mixture of both. Well, it's emergency powers and also power grabbing and controlling of power. But there's a war, and so it's really effective. And I thought that was just a brilliant move of world building.
Sorry about that. I dropped out for a second.
Yeah, I was like, damn, you're taking a big hit right there. That's where it stopped at. You was taking a hit of here, here with Babe. I was like, ooh.
I was like,
um, okay, that makes sense because yeah, I mean, until you got like you say, until you got into power, or became the Galactic Empire. Yeah, because okay, all right, that makes sense. Huh. You know, it's interesting how like how he the just the way he took like George Lucas took so many things out of history and real life. And it's like, you know what? And people really didn't realize it until he actually said it. It's like, oh, okay. And it's like it's in your face. I want you to see it. And you know that this is wrong, but you until it's in your face and you like you don't want to admit that, hey, this is actually happening, or hey, uh uh this is not okay until you see a different story that takes you out of the situation that isn't close to home. It's like, oh yeah, that's messed up. Or that's jacked up. It was like the Vietnam War and all that stuff like that and everything. And I was like, no, yeah, it was a horrible situation. Even with the whole Republic and the Empire and how one way or one person can make somebody look like they're the enemy and really it's not. It's like, hey, we're just trying to make things look help the world, and you're trying to be a power hungry fool.
And that the whole facade is another parallel taken directly from Hitler's playbook. In the Nazi playbook, they try to make behind the scenes, and we have all the records. You can look at historical records and stuff. You can see that it was a dictatorship from once Hitler becomes chancellor, but they worked so hard to make it publicly seem like these were just um, political acts that were happening and taking necessary precautions. When Hitler's chancellor, there is a decree. I can't remember the decree. I should have written it down, but it gives uh, Hitler as power of chancellor to just make laws. He doesn't have to go through the Senate. There is President Hindenburg, still the leader, but as chancellor, Hitler can just make laws. But it was done. It was passed by the Senate and the presidential approval, so it's democratically correct, which is why that scene in Reviviscence will always be one of my favorite scenes, where he announces the Galactic Empire and him and Emperor, and the Senate is just cheering for it. It's like they're cheering for it, and then Padme says that this is how democracy dies, with thunderous applause.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we're conditioned to think, oh, democracy ends in a violent revolution, but when the biggest threat will always come from inside. And if you've ever been to Disneyland and been to great times with Mr. Lincoln, and he says it's a mishmash of his speeches, but he says I'm paraphrasing, the biggest threat to this nation will never be from enemies overseas. We'll fight them off. We'll defend ourselves. But if there's ever a threat to come that will threaten our democracy, it's from within our own borders.
yeah.
Yeah. That whole scene right there was just like so powerful. I mean, even like just playing in my head, it gives me chills because like I don't know why. Maybe Pat, you can answer this too. Um, wasn't that like that whole, not necessarily that quote, but just that environment and how like that the presentation of it that came from a part in history that happened. Was that like based off of Hitler?
Because that's how Hitler came to power. He was voted into the chancellorship. The Senate voted him the powers, and he became the leader of the Reich. It was he did not. His SA and his SS members did a campaign of fear with voters and took it as a political blows like that, but he's very distant from that. The higher ups of the Nazi parties were very distant from it. Everything else seemed so politically coherent that the people of Germany just voted him to have those powers.
Okay.
And then again he pulled.
Yeah, he was very
pulled
good.
a Caesar. He pulled a Caesar and instituted social reforms, and that went against that harmed tons of minorities, but the majority of Germans it helped. The racially, and I'm thinking about majority and minorities. I'm speaking in terms of ethnic and racial. And so because the majority, the white majority of German were helped, it was deemed politically fine.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Hitler's rise was definitely precipitated by the First World War and all of that. Like, Germany was in such dire economic straits that you couldn't buy bread. Like, you needed a wheelbarrow full of marks to buy bread, because they, to pay back their reparations, they just printed money.
Yeah.
And so Hitler just decided, okay, we're gonna fix this, and we're not paying you any more money, and we're gonna build a war machine and just fund the economy that way.
We got the Volkswagen.
Because
Yeah.
the VW Bug. That was Hitler's plan.
Was it really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was. Yeah.
He wanted to make a car that was easy to produce and affordable, so that everyone could have one.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like there's a lot of stuff that, if you really look at it, like,
yeah, you know the famous German autobahns.
Yep,
Yeah.
The highway.
Yeah.
That's Hitler.
Yeah, I know that one. I knew.
Like Hugo Boss was the company that made the uniforms for the SS.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Hugo Boss.
Yep.
That's my favorite cologne.
Yeah, I won't, like, I learned that a couple years ago. I won't buy Hugo Boss.
Man.
I won't ever buy a Volkswagen. Like, and the thing is like, I don't think either of those companies has paid any sort of reparations, like, at all. They're just, no, we're just, everything we did was perfectly legal.
Yeah, they hide behind that. Oh, we're just a business and we're contracted.
Yeah, and it's there's more. There's a ton more, but like a lot of that was going on.
Okay. What else? So Palpatine parallels Hitler and Stalin. So what? So if Palpatine's Hitler, would that make Vader Stalin?
I guess you would say, but Hitler and Stalin didn't like each other very much.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Vader would be Stalin.
Yeah.
Like, since he did a lot more secret purging of the Jedi, and Stalin, we don't ever talk about Stalin's genocides. So.
Yeah. Or his own people that he sent to the gulags for no reason.
To the gulags. Wow.
Yeah, no, there's anybody who was taken as a POW in World War II, and any of the German Russian soldiers came back and were immediately sent to the gulags for surrendering.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Damn. That's a dog country.
Yeah, like Stalin was using Photoshop before it existed. Like, he would assassinate
manipulator of film.
He would assassinate political opponents and then take all the pictures that they were in and remove them from those pictures and be like, I don't know who that person is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Stalin was doing. I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm just laughing like, fuck.
Yeah, no,
he was doing Photoshop and cropping stuff before it was a thing.
Yeah, because and it's really interesting because the people loved Lenin. So Lenin had a is his glass coffin still there? I don't know.
I believe it is.
Yeah, so when Lenin died, the people loved him so much that they didn't bury him. He was preserved and put in a glass coffin and put on display. And the person whose views lined up most with his was Leon Trotsky. But because Hitler was, I'm sorry, not Hitler, but because Stalin was so charismatic and was so good at manipulating people, had so much power within the party. Um, when Lenin died, Trotsky, we went to Colombia, right?
Trotsky. Stalin forced him to go to Colombia
Yeah.
because Stalin was threatening to assassinate him, or had attempted to assassinate him. He went to Colombia for a time. Then I think he tried to come back, and then he almost got assassinated again. So I think he just got exiled to Colombia.
Yeah. And there was a lot going on there, and it's sort of similar to some of the senators just leaving, like Mon Mothma, and she went and started her own rebellion. So Bale actually was one of the few people who actually could do both.
When you say do both, like what do you mean?
He started the rebellion and he had cells, and he was still going to Coruscant and being a senator, even though the Senate was mostly defunct.
We need to see the Imperial Senate in a show or a movie or something, a book, just to see how different it is from the Republican era. And I want it to be focused around Bail Organa because that man needs a series.
I think we'll get it in Andor, probably, if that.
And yes, Andor is my most anticipated Star Wars show.
Okay.
I accidentally branded myself as a separatist sympathizer on the Mandalorian's podcast because we're talking about Star Wars. Got into Star Wars politics, and we're talking some of my views on the parallels of the Vietnam War and just how they got manipulated, and so.
I agree with you on that one, though. I mean, I get what you're saying because they did. I mean, they got manipulated bad on that one, just for the fact that they was promised the fucking, well, I wouldn't say the world, but they was promised their fair share. Hey, no, we're gonna take care of your business from Sidious, and it wasn't like they wanted to. I don't think the separatists wanted to rule like the world. They want their part.
So from how I analyze and how I look at it, most of the separatists come from worlds or that were either colonized by other republic citizens, or there were worlds of non-humans that were brought into the republic through these republic worlds colonizing other worlds, and so they're very much colonies of the republic, and they're like. And they take a look, and it's like, well, we had this contract with the Republic to being a part of this galactic democracy that's supposed to take care of us and stuff. You guys aren't doing its part. You guys are corrupt. So we're gonna leave. We're not gonna bother you. We're just gonna leave, set up our own government, and take care of our own people. And so the Clone Wars is very much acts of anti-colonialism and stuff that got manipulated by the Sith, because neither governments had a standing army or military capabilities until the Sith got involved. And so even if there was fears of war, they could not.
That's a good point. That's a real good point. And
so it's going to be I'm still trying to figure out a bunch of stuff because I said I want to put this all into a TikTok series, and so I'm still trying to figure out the best way to say things and best way to parallelize it. But that's the framework I'm working on. So I guess I am a separatist sympathizer.
Hey, call it what you must, but no, I mean, it's just about being hey, if they get screwed over, I mean, the way they went about it wasn't smart.
And that's not the Senate's fault. That's poor constitution written because influence of the Sith Lord and the Dooku and the Separatist Council, which was all corporations. It was the Separatist Council which was in charge of the military. The Senate had no part in that. So these people who were just trying to leave and not start any conflict had no say in the military matters, and were just going on the words and stuff with Dooku. Because we see in the Clovis arc with the banks, the senator says, "Oh, the Senate would not approve this," and the Dooku just unalives him.
Yeah. See, yeah. That's crazy how that works.
So all the acts we see in the Clone Wars are from the perspective of greedy corporations and Dooku. The only episodes we see from the perspective of the Senate is with Padme and Ahsoka going to Raxus and trying to start a peace corps, and the Senate votes to say, "Oh yeah, let's try for peace."
Okay.
And then literally, when there's peace, the Separatist army under control of Grievous and Dooku sends an attack to Coruscant, and the Senate has no aware of that, and then Dooku concocts a story. Oh, it was a Republic attack on one of our senators. I put the Senate in this bubble I call a bubble of good intentions, and it's from the effect in my theory of the poorly written constitution, and so with whatever is happening on their side, they're not getting the whole message.
Gotcha.
So they don't have effects, and so it's just the corporations and Dooku leading everything.
Yeah. The Senate, because the Separatists have a valid point at the start of the war, like the Senate has a little too much control, and they have some valid points, but it's also, being manipulated by a Sith Lord. Like the entire war, effectively starts with the blockade of Naboo.
Yeah, it did, and I mean, and they was blaming.
Well, I don't even think the Separatist government was formed until a couple years before Attack of the Clones.
Right, but yeah, that's when the whole thing sort of starts. Because
go ahead. Sorry.
At that point, like the Jedi are sort of 100% embroiled in the affairs of the Republic. There's no separation there anymore, and we see that like if you look at Master and Apprentice, like who's Chancellor at the time? It's not Valorum yet.
Is it? No, is it not? I thought it was Valorum.
No, I think it's the Chancellor before Valorum, because I remember reading a passage where, but it could have been a flashback, one of Qui-Gon's flashbacks, where he's talking to somebody and they're like, "Hey, who do you think the next Chancellor is going to be? Is it going to be Valorum or somebody else?" So I think it's the Chancellor right before Valorum in Master and Apprentice, but like the Chancellor directly sends the Jedi to Pajal, and it's sort of the same thing where like the Jedi on Naboo are there at the request of the Senate, of the Chancellor. Like there's no separation. Like the council sets sort of the parameters of the mission. They select the Jedi, but like they're directly at the beck and call of the Senate, of the Chancellor at that point.
It was Creamy Kaja. She was a Togruta female. And so yeah, this was before Valorum. I'm sorry about that. I have to go. I guess I have to go reread Master and Apprentice.
Yeah, Master and Apprentice is like this. I think it's the first or second Star Wars book I read. So I was.
It happens to all of us. Trust me. Oh man. So Okay, so I have a question for you then.
All right.
Since the Palpatine represents Palpatine represents Hitler, and Anakin or Darth Vader represents Stalin, and a lot of the war was based off of like the Viet Cong War and stuff like that. Um, so in the sequels, where does that parallel at?
That parallel is modern American politics. And that's a fun time.
It's a fun time. We like fun times.
In fact, they kind of draw. I haven't found the Vietnam parallel connection after that, because I don't know Vietnam history until after the war, and so I don't know what that does. But the first parallel I see is the politics of America in the 2000s and current times. And so there's one book I really have to read, and I know why I haven't read of, is Bloodlines.
Yeah, I haven't read that yet.
I haven't read it either. I need to.
And it's the gist is it lays in the midst of New Republic politics. Oh, and there's two parties. One party would be I can't remember the party's names because I haven't read it. But one party basically wants to implement features of the empire into the New Republic, and one party is basically, no, let's not do that. And then you have people from the party that wants to bring in a little bit of empire funding the First Order. And so you got your very polarized and very fractioned leftist and rightist government there, with people with some leaders of the conservative side funding neo-Nazis.
Yeah, there's also a commentary there on the modern military-industrial complex. Because that they're essentially buying their weapons from the same place.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that when DJ said that. He said, "Hey, you're fighting for one side, and the Emperor is fighting for their side, but it's on the same coin, and the person who's basically supplying both sides with the ammunition." So, yeah, it was like, and that, I mean, you said it's modern day America and politics. I was like, okay, I wasn't really like even thinking about that one, but I was like, all right. I was thinking more of like the Gulf Wars like that. But even there, you can go with that one too, because that was the same fucking thing. They were
yeah. So go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No. Like, if I understand my modern industrial complex working, companies vie for the contracts. They get awarded the contracts, and then whatever they produce a whole bunch of things, and whatever the U.S. government doesn't use or buy, they then offer it to other countries, and then America sells off its old stock to other countries, and so there is all like Vietnam era and late 80s and early 90s era military U.S. Military equipment and weapons going around the world, because we've upgraded. We don't need that, but we got to make a profit this unused stuff.
Yeah, and China does the same thing.
Yeah.
Russia did the same thing too.
Yeah, Russia did the same thing. China's doing the same thing now. I mean, it's very interesting because I can't really put it into words. It's one of those things where, like, unless you really stop to look at what's going on and who's making the money, like, you don't think about it. Like, you get in a situation like we had before we left Afghanistan, where you have U.S. soldiers guarding poppy fields. It's like,
oh, and that's what I written down this in my like pre-notes for the thing about the complacency of the war and in the Clone Wars in the Republic. And so back to the Ahsoka Tano leaving arc, they're called to the temple because of a bombing. and that's right there and there. That's very parallelistic of Vietnam bombing, protest bombings. But when you see the actual protesters, it's not like we see in the Vietnam War, where it's mass movements. It's just a group of people. They're small. They're just banded together. They're from the lower levels, and it's very much parallel to the smaller size and the small activism of anti-war movements during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. The America was very. We were at war for nearly like over. We were at war before I was born. I'm almost 23. Over 20, nearly 25
Dude,
wars in the Middle East, and it was just a part of a life. And you have that whole message of complacency in the civilians in warfares during the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars just became part of life, and that contributed to the rise of Palpatine.
Yeah, it's just sad and crazy that you said that we was in war before you were born. And now, yeah, we didn't even look at it as war after a while. It was like when we heard about the Gulf War, it was like,
my father was a corpsman in both Gulf Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. The original Gulf War, that was like less than a year, I remember, if I remember right. I was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Or no, first grade. I was in first grade.
How old are you?
How old am I? I'm 37.
You was in the first grade.
During the first Gulf War? Yeah, I was. Yeah. I remember it. I remember taking the bus home. My friend, his dad got sent over there.
Get out of here, because I remember them talking. Continue. I'm just going to look this one up.
And so it's very much in part of the episode, and you very much get on the ways you see in the later arcs of the fifth season to the sixth season. Every time you see civilian, it's very much they're complacent. It's just the war is a part of life, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we're not going to oppose it. And so there's nothing like the Vietnam protests when we see with the Clone Wars. It's just people say, oh, it's a part of life, and it's the government government knows what's best in military matters, and Palpatine got emergency powers, so it's what he thinks is best, and that.
Okay. Yeah, you was in the kindergarten, because I was like, dang, that damn old.
No, I was in first grade.
The first Gulf War was in 1991. I was like, hell no, I ain't that old.
I was 5.
Almost 6. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Okay, cool.
No, I was 7. 7.
You were 7.
Yeah. And then it's interesting because you bring up the protests. Like, I remember the protests for the Gulf War that just ended, and like it was big at the first year or two, but like when something goes on for that long and nobody's listening, it's it's hard to keep going. I mean, we've seen that a few times here in America.
No, you're that's 100% right. And same thing is like, you get you it's like Star. That's why I love Star Wars. It's just that literally imitated life. That was art that it imitated life 100%. So like with Gulf War, the Vietnam War, all stuff like that, every era was in Star Wars. And it's like, so when you said, like, even with the whole the sequels imitating the current political struggles with America and all stuff like that, yes, it's like you can break it down by each movie of the prequel, the not prequels, the sequels, like Force Awakenings. I mean, you actually see the First Order blow up the New Republic. It's like the best thing I can think of is when the Twin Towers happened. That, I mean, the 9/11 got hit, and like, oh, and that's when the rebellion was kind of the spark got reunited. It's like, hey, nah, we gotta do something about this shit.
And to take that parallel further, the new Republic government did not think 2 cents about the First Order. Mm-hmm. They thought it was a backwater organization, and they couldn't touch them. They were not their concern. And then Palpatine system gets wiped off the face of the star map.
Yeah.
And which is exactly what happened with 9/11. Again, to take it even further, there were members of the New Republic government funding the First Order. Then we trained the Taliban in the 80s. We gave them the knowledge of how to be insurrectionists, how to be terrorists, to fight the Soviet Union moving into the Middle East. And then they turn around and they use that knowledge against us, which is exactly what happens in Force Awakens with the First Order and the New Republic. So they just didn't blow up the senators and political party that was against the First Order. They blew up the people that were supporting them as well.
Yeah. I said we'll take out your whole support leg, and so now it's like, what you gonna do? I was like, hey.
But they got Grandpa Palp in the background, so they're good on that.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, that's crazy. This is so crazy.
I actually did not think of that parallel. Thank you very much. Right.
You're welcome, man. Oh no, I mean, this is a good topic. It's cool. It makes you think. Like I said, it's gonna get deep, and the fact that people won't talk about this because one, it's Star Wars. And people like either you just love it and you don't want to tarnish and bring politics into your bring politics into your Star Wars, and it's all about that. That's the whole purpose of this movie. It's just it makes it interesting. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, freaking, I actually want to go watch the movie tonight, just because talking about this, like, oh, this is so cool. This is like, but yeah, it's like, just everything how it just rhymes and it imitates. It's just so creepy and scary, but like, so the First Order took down the New Republic, and we'll go to the Last Jedi. Last Jedi. That is, I mean, it's still in the same era, like that, but it actually it's like I said, the whole DJ line, and finding out the big Rockefellers and all stuff like that, the big spenders at the casinos, and living up the life, and underneath you seeing the slavery and all the child harboring, all stuff like that. What the fuck just came out like a couple of years ago? So it's like a whole bunch of stuff is like just like it's just it's hitting home, and it's hitting like so much. Just it imitates life. So that, and then DJ saying, "Hey, yeah, we're still in a war, but I mean, why are you getting mad at them? Because they're just trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do, and it's the same. It's vice versa. It's just a different look at this other side of the coin, but y'all still getting the same. You're going to the same supplier. So what's the problem?"
Yeah, and I mean, like, Palpatine essentially funded both sides of the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he was pulling those strings the whole time, and he was manipulating the banking clans and all of it. And it's really like you could tell George was really like in the Bush Cheney sort of thing, because that's exactly sort of what the Bushes did. Like it's beat for beat. Like Bush was the one responsible in the 80s. Reagan and Bush were responsible for the Taliban. And then when they came back, he's the one responsible for getting involved over there and like falsifying documents to get us involved in Iraq because he wanted to be there when they had nothing to do with it. Because one of the things about Hussein, if we're going to talk about politics, is Hussein hated terrorists because they undermined his authority.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid of politics. Let's get into it.
Like it's just a matter of fact. And one thing I don't like either of the Bushes, but one thing I will give senior credit for is he understood that once he stopped the Iraq's military invasion of Kuwait, and once he had a surrender, there was no reason, and very good reasons, not to remove Hussein, because it created a power vacuum where now you have a destabilized central government and people who weren't loyal, people who are no longer loyal to Hussein, who want the power for themselves. And look what's still going on over there.
Yeah, it creates the devil you know and the devil you don't mentality. It's like, if you guys don't know what that is, like, do you trust the devil you know, or do you trust someone else who you don't know that might stab you in the back, or you have to get familiar with, and like, fuck, I don't know if this person's how good and conniving this person is, but I know this one, and I know his MO or their MO real well, and I can deal with that. So we know them. We got them under check. So let them do what they need to do over there. But as long as they don't let this other stuff, they'll keep that devil we don't know at bay.
Well, and Hussein sort of knew his limits.
Yeah.
that was the thing. Like, he knew his limits. He knew what he could do, and he knew what he couldn't get away with.
He tested it with Kuwait. He found out, oh no.
I mean,
you know who I consider the Middle East? The Huts. The Huts.
The Huts are more.
It's like Tatooine. Shit, there you go. Tatooine is the Middle East.
They're a cartel, but they're also sort of like the Saudis in a way.
Yeah, like we don't know. Shit, the Saudis and the cartels probably working together. We don't know.
but the thing I was gonna say, now I lost my train of thought. Where was I?
Sorry about that.
Oh, the thing about Kuwait was, like, they sort of were asking for it. Like, if you look at the situation, and this is something I didn't know initially when I was in first grade, but the Kuwaitis were slant drilling Iraq's oil, and that's the only thing that was keeping the Iraqi government afloat, their economy. And he warned them. He's like, "Listen, you're stealing my oil. Cut it out. Like, stop doing this. I don't want to fight over this. This is my oil. Stop stealing it." And they said, "What are you gonna do about it?"
It always comes back to the credits.
And that's exactly what it was about. So, I mean, it's like, well, I'm not going to let you steal my oil. And then he found out real quick why he can't cross his borders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the whole thing about keeping politics out of Star Wars is the thing is because it's like asking us to keep politics out of buildings. Our government buildings are modeled off of ancient Roman buildings. Other countries are modeled off of ancient buildings. The human experience is always going to draw on powers and conferences and fights, concepts, clashes. Sorry, my speech impediment. From our past to help us conceptualize our present and our future, and especially in media like film and literature, where it's entertainment, but you get these artists that want to talk about the human experience, and you cannot talk about the human experiences without talking about any sociological development or institution like politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's one of the most interesting topics in Star Wars, because people think it's like what George did with Star Wars was amazing. He took a bunch of stuff and then made it kid friendly. Like, it's so weird. Like, it's based on obviously it's based on Kurosawa, but it's also based on like the Buck Rogers serials. It's based on like uh, you know,
Flash.
it's
Ah.
based on just so many different like general um, like classic storytelling that's just repackaged, and so people are like, oh, when you get into this like, oh, I want original ideas in my Star Wars, it's like, well, you clearly have no idea what you're talking about.
There's a reason Order 66 affects us so deeply, and I actually have a parallel for Order 66. If you guys want to
Yeah,
get
I would
into
love
it.
to hear it.
I would love to
Love
hear
to
it.
hear it.
Okay. So when Hitler became chancellor, there um there was an event called the Night of Long Knives, and basically it was spurred by the burning of the Reichstag, which was the legislative building in Berlin. Um, he used that as a way to strip German citizens of their civil liberties, and then following that, he used the SS to take out the leadership of the SA, which was the original Nazi paramilitary organization. And so from from July 30th to June 30th to July 2nd, it was this night of murder and arrests, but in this military organization leadership, and weeding out political opponents, weeding out people who thought would just go against him, people who contradict Nazi ideology and political thinking, and it was spurred on by Hitler thinking that Ernest Röhm, the leader of the SA, was going to do a coup, and that directly just when I was reading that, because I was planning a history lesson plan for my master's classes, and I was talking about War II. I was reading about, I'm like, oh, it's treason then. That's just like, and so there's a reason that Order 66 affects us so well, not just because it's good guys wiping out the bad guys, because it has ties to actual acts of violence that were just heinous, and so we still feel those emotions and that deep connection, even if we don't know about it.
Right, right. That's a good one. I hadn't thought of that because, and that's not something that like a lot of people know about, like the Night of Long Knives or Crystal Knocked or any of that stuff. Like,
Yeah, I've heard of it. I mean, it's been so long since I
yeah, Crystal
learned
Knocked
that.
is when they burned a bunch of the Jewish owned businesses in Germany,
Mm.
and that's is there a parallel in there? I don't think there is.
The burning of the Jedi Temple archives.
Yeah, yeah, the archives, the sabers.
And then just the parallel of the Jedi burning in the course of the night just
Mhm.
invokes the imagery of the Reichstag burning.
Yeah, yeah. George was really good at doing all of those really really interesting things, and I sort of have to echo the opinion. I wonder what George's career would have been like if he had never made Star Wars.
I think
Bro.
before George Lucas got to filming people, he did a lot of scenic stuff. That's why there's such great landscape shots in Star Wars, because that really was George's passion as a filmmaker when he first started filming school. And so I think you'd have become like a National Geographic film photographer or filmer.
He was also into making like obviously political film too. He made THX 1138 like right before he made this. One of the interesting things, and this is more of a literary discussion, but I attribute George Lucas to being the father of cyberpunk.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Um,
get you. I see you there. I see
and
you there. Yeah.
we'll have to do an episode. I need to have Nick come back on, and I have to find another person who's really into cyberpunk to have this discussion, because like there's a lot going on um, with the general themes, especially like the original trilogy is the most cyberpunk of anything, but it's really interesting if you take a look at that. And the other thing, if we're going to be talking about parallels to real life, is if you want to look at sort of the economic climate in all of Star Wars, it's really interesting to think that like there's very few doctors, there's very few lawyers, there's almost no laborers. Like all of that is um, droid labor, and it's sort of, if you look at what's going on now with our own economic climate where we're hurtling towards mass automation, and you just have to wonder if that's intentional.
Oh, it has to be intentional because
At this
school,
point, yeah.
school. I mean, I'm starting to become a teacher, and so in education, we're pushing towards no manual labor thing, no skills, no in that thing. It's all focused on STEM, and I think that's extremely hurtful, especially with kids, because not everyone can survive in a climate that's purely intellectual. Not because
So,
people aren't smart, but just because some people are just not built that built that way or have the conditioning for that.
Yeah, and the lack of the arts in schools is a shame, because I mean it's not only do we need art to understand where we are, um, we need it to tell us where we've been, even if we're not doing that, you know, overtly.
Which is why I'm becoming a social studies teacher, because that way I can if my students can don't learn anything from me, they'll learn that emergency powers are the downfall of all democracies, and never give your chancellor emergency powers.
Yes, yes, I agree.
let's go. Darthman said, I don't think that's a good parallel. Solo showed us slave labor and independent contractors.
If I
Yeah,
read,
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No,
No,
no, go
you go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that slave. I mean, here's the thing. I think it is because it's happened already. It hasn't stopped. It's being more addressed now in a few in here and now in day and age compared to back then. Back then, yes, and solo would be right before it'd be before the original trilogy. So with that, yes, we're not saying that the slave labor and actually the Great Depression.
Well, I mean, if you really want to look at it, it's still going on.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, just I mean, even here, I mean, if you work for a like a day wage, you're like you're not making it.
right now, no, hell no. There is no. That's why, man. That's why I guess I was looking at the statistics. I guess this year, and the past 3 months, there's like 40 million people quit their job, like nonstop. 40 million, another 40 million, another 40 million. I'm like, what y'all doing? like, like,
If anything, the slave labor that we see in Solo is a parallel for profit prisons.
mm-hmm,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yep,
because if I remember correctly, the slaves that are by the pikes are either people who haven't paid their bikes to the pet, or prisoners sent there by the the
indentured
empire.
state, it's called indentured servants.
Yeah, and so which is going on, and so they're slaves for profit, which exactly was what's going in the prisons right now. We people who get incarcerated in mass incarcerations, the prisons get the payment for having certain amount of prisoners incarcerated, and then they can use those prisoners to do any sort of manual labor or any labor at all, because all their civil liberties get stripped once they go into prison.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that's exactly what's happening with on the Pike planet right there.
Well,
on Kessel.
and it's actually interesting. If you look at the amendment that ended slavery, it has a caveat in there where you can enforce slavery as punishment for crime.
The 13th Amendment.
Yeah, we need another one. We need an amendment for that amendment because
yeah. I've been thinking about that too lately. I was like, that's not cool.
Like even a couple years ago, there was a call among the community to boycott Jordans because Jordans are made in U.S. prisons now. Because it's now cheaper to make them. Yeah, it's now cheaper to make them here than it is to make them in China.
Wow.
Because they don't have to pay. They pay their workers, and it's fucked because you're so. For a long time, if you did prison labor, they paid you, and you got some money when you got out of prison. And now they pay you less than they did then because the wages that they pay you, they not only do you have to pay state and federal taxes on because it's considered income, and then they take most of the rest of that as payment for being in prison. So you have to pay the state to imprison you.
Yeah, they charge for the amenities that they have in the prison.
Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. For-profit prisons are a direct affront to the ideals of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Like capitalizing liberty is a bad idea.
I'll tell you, I'm a huge advocate of prison reform.
I'm right there with all y'all. Trust me. Oh man,
I'm enjoying this. So this has been great.
This is a good one. What else? So we talked on Last Jedi. So the Rise of Skywalker. I'm not.
That is a movie I'm gonna have to watch several times to see if there's any parallels. Because
there's parallels.
There's parallels. I just it's not a movie I have watched enough.
Yeah. I mean, we can come back to it sometime. But I'm trying to think. Just I haven't watched the Rise of Skywalker enough. I think I watched it twice. The first time was I watched it in the theater. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm good. And then I watched it at home. I was like, all right, I wasn't really paying attention. But I was like, oh, okay, so I need to watch it again. And to understand, not even to understand it more, I understand it. It's just that I was like, okay.
There's a lot of stuff in Rise of Skywalker that's hard to pay attention to because that movie
moves so fast.
It was edited poorly. It was edited very poorly. Like even the first sequence, like it goes back and forth too much between Kylo Ren and what's going on with Rey and Finn and Poe, and it's a hard to follow movie.
It felt like a Pulp Fiction type movie.
Yeah, it really does. Like they were trying to make two movies out of one movie and work around Carrie Fisher's death and just like trying to do like 35 things in a single film.
No, totally. I'm trying to see if I can.
I will say this. I've always said it felt rushed.
It was. They released a release. Essentially, what happened was they released their roadmap to it, and then Carrie Fisher died, and they didn't adjust the roadmap to Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. They were just like, oh well, we can still do it, and it clearly like it's not my. I mean, I don't dislike that film. It's one of the most Star Wars films of the sequel trilogy, but at the same time, it's definitely a mess.
Yeah. I'll address this. That one, yeah, okay. Darth, I hear you.
Yeah, I work in an Amazon facility now, so it's like.
Oh, do you? We got to talk more about that one.
Oh, I don't.
I
don't work for Uncle Jeff. I work for a contractor of Uncle Jeff's.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I can't talk too much about that because it is what it is.
Gotcha. Okay.
But so far I'm liking it okay, and there seems to be a lot of room for me to grow there. But it's like Pat was talking about. Like if I wasn't good at STEM, I wouldn't be in the position I am. It was definitely a good upward move economically for me and my family, but at the same time, it's like I can understand why the people who work as with package handlers don't care.
Yeah.
Like
No.
stuff breaks and they're just like, "Hey, this is broken," and they walk away from it. And it's like one of my coworkers was like, "Yeah, they just don't care," and I'm like, "Well, if you were making what they made, would you care?"
Yeah. No. True. Um.
I'm just
JJ
trying. I'm just trying to think
somehow
of
Palpatine
the
rejoining.
Rise of Skywalker. If I can make any parallels between it and the revolutions of the Eastern Bloc at the end of the Cold War,
Trying to think. Like that.
with all the different Soviet satellite states standing up to the Soviet Union. I'll have to. That's a no. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. Hey, that'd be a great sequence into your series on TikTok.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, and that's that. I really want the Andor style to give us East Berlin style Star Wars. I
Oh, that'd be like yeah, like
like
Cold War CIA type stuff.
with did you guys see Atomic Blonde?
No,
I have not
no.
watched that one.
Oh, it's so amazing. I really want an Atomic Blonde style Andor series with the separatist planets being East Berlin. And I already get that feel from watching that episode where they rescue the separate center from the Batch, where they really have to go behind a walled city and they have to go throughout a wall, and with the military coming after them. And we have that, on the East Berlin side of the Berlin Wall, there was that no trespassing zone with landmines and guns pointed at civilians. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Okay.
Like the Cold War era CIA is absolutely insane. Like the gadgets, the nonsense they were doing. There was one thing I read where they were training operatives to train cats to spy on people.
the CIA was trying to get otters to defuse bombs and plant bombs.
Yes, yes, and it didn't work.
That's how we got so much information on the aggression of otters.
I always have to
Oh,
have
I
a
love JJ. I love the Americans. I haven't. I never. I don't think I ever finished the series, but it was amazing.
Atomic Bomb's awesome. Yeah, it's pretty. I haven't watched it yet, but gotta check it out.
I also I'm wondering if you Pat, if you have a perspective on the ridiculous military buildup that Palpatine was able to pull off whilst in hiding.
I,
Does that parallel anything? Because that's out of nowhere for me. Like I was trying to think about that.
uh, that would be another good thread to follow in Rise of Skywalker. But I don't know. It's honestly, it would just I would say that it's like arms race from the Cold War, because there's so many things that like they just did, and well, so many things were going on, and basically Palpatine had this section that's been going since the end of the Clone Wars, and so with as much wealth as he probably had a master as emperor, and then being in charge of the banks, I'm sure he was be able to funnel the enough money to do that. Then to have to like 20 years, then plus another 30 years, so almost 50 years to build that fleet. I think that's reasonable. I think it's out of nowhere because our attention is like was driven somewhere else.
Do you think he had a do you think he had a bug in the code of the banking clans to funnel money into account? Sort
I
of
would
like the plot of Office Space.
I would not put it past Shivi to do that.
Because that sounds like something he would do. Like once he was in control of the banks, to just like round tenths of a penny to some account somewhere.
Oh yeah,
Um,
especially since they were old style Star Destroyers, and so
yeah,
like they're saying that the majority of that had to be built in between the Clone Wars and through the original trilogy. So the fact that they're just there, I'm able to build and stuff. It doesn't feel out of place. It just feels sudden because our direction was somewhere else.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Operation Cinder?
I don't know very much of Operation Cinder, but from what I do sound, it just feels like a campaign of total destruction and napalming that was done during on the Japanese civilians of WW2 and then throughout the Vietnam War.
That's interesting to say that because I actually got more of the Hitler as downfall vibe off of that one. Like hey, just burn y'all, kill yourself, hail the empire, and make sure that I come back to life later on, or put me in my bunker and freeze me.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was feeling with that. Like
I don't know that much about Cinder, and something I'm going.
So the long and short of Operation Cinder was should the Empire ever fail to protect Palpatine, it was basically burn the Empire to the ground.
Yeah.
No, I can totally see the Hitler parallel there with him just suiciding and all the other leaders suiciding or just going off and I totally see that parallel. Where I'm gonna make a note of this because again like that's another out of movie material like Bloodline I'm gonna have to look into. Where did I find the storyline for Operation Cinder?
You would have to. I don't know. Do you have one for that? Because the only place I remember hearing about it initially was Mando when they were talking about that.
Operation Cinder.
Yeah.
So I know they mentioned it in the Battlefront game and Operation Cinder. Operation Cinder. Not Center.
Brick says the campaign of Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's mentioned by Mayfeld as well because he refused to be a part of it.
Yeah. I know it. I know the gist, but like the details and stuff for me to come like any conclusion of a parallel is like.
Yeah, I feel that there is so much new Star Wars since Lucasfilm has gotten free of George that it's actually sort of hard for me to follow now.
Oh no, and it's I am just hops, jumping and skipping around the reading material because I this is interesting. Well, this is interesting too. I want to read about it too, but then I have to follow this storyline, but now I'm behind.
Yes, Brooke. You are 100% right. I love her fucking picture.
I'm taking my ball. I'm going home, and I'm burning down the basketball court.
Right. Screw you guys. I'm gonna. So yeah, I did look it up on Wikipedia too. Operation Cinder was, to put it bluntly, part of Emperor Palpatine evil contingency plan to burn the shit to the ground.
That just continues the Hitler parallel and Palpatine.
Yeah. That was Scour Airplane. Wow. Oh, there's more. Such as Palpatine's own homework. Oh, damn. He wanted to burn everything down.
Yeah, he was not playing fair.
He said, screw you guys. No, yes, and he was playing chess. I give him that much, but Jesus.
I mean, he was playing chess while everyone else was playing pin the tail on the donkey.
Pretty much. They was like playing pickup stick. God damn it.
They were
No,
literally like, I like the pin the tail of the donkey one because everyone else is blindfolded, being turned in circles, trying to find the target, and he's right there going, because they had no idea.
yeah,
What
no.
was it? It was Wednesday night on Darth Chaco's High Ground, and they were talking about how they don't understand why Phantom Menace doesn't have a clear antagonist, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're talking about the movie that's talking about the Phantom Menace that
Yes,
doesn't have a
Phantom.
clear antagonist? I wonder if that's
Palpatine all
intentional.
along.
Like, it's intentional. Like, nobody knows what's going on. That's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah, it's like, look at this. Look at this. Like, look at this horn guy that's red. This devil dude. There you go. That's what you want to find. Okay. Yeah.
Obi-Wan definitely was the first person to know what was, to have an inkling as to what was going on,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I love Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi
Obi-Wan.
is amazing. I can't wait for Kenobi to come out.
Hey, speaking of, I mean, just to touch on something, it is December. You know that, right?
Yes.
2 weeks, basically. We get Boba.
Boba Fett.
Yes.
Where's Brooke at? Brooke, where you at? I saw
Yeah,
a trailer.
I'm
There.
excited.
I'm
I'm
like,
excited for Book of Boba Fett.
JJ says Phantom means secretive. Yeah,
Yeah,
somewhat.
ethereal.
Not
Ethereal.
secretively.
Like, it's ethereal. It's out there. You can't pin it down.
Oh, Brooke. Yeah, Boba.
One of these
Your boo.
one of these days, I'd like to get into the all of the religious stuff in Star Wars. Perhaps after the Acolyte comes out, I'd
Yes.
really like to get some of the
There is so much religious stuff in
I'd,
Star Wars.
I'd like to get into the some more of the Sith lore, because we're finally going to get some canon Sith lore, which actually segues into some of our current events in Star Wars, which is, this has been a huge week. Have you guys been following the news?
The game?
Yeah.
We got the game. Rogue Squadron's back on. We cast the lead for Acolyte.
Oh yeah. I totally forgot about that one. Yeah.
What era is Rogue Squadron set in again? Is that original?
I don't know.
Isn't it like right after?
I've heard it's set OT. I've also heard it could be set
That's OT.
sequels. I don't know. I
I
don't
will
know
say
if
something.
they specifically know.
This is what. Is there before I say this? There isn't a. Is there a canon Palpatine book?
No.
No.
Sadly, the one that was the definitive backstory for a long time, at least in the fans' mind, was Plagueis, my favorite all-time Star Wars book,
Mm-hmm.
and that you said no, that's part of the EU, that's part of Legends.
Legends.
So,
See, so with that said, as much as Palpatine has been in every Star Wars movie except he has had his hand in every Star Wars movie. I would love to hear an origin story.
no, dude, have you read Plagueis?
I have not.
I love it so much. Darth Plagueis and young Sheevy is just a great dynamic, because Plagueis is not a theater boy. He's not a theater kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's a scientist, and but we all know that Palpatine is a method actor. So the dynamic between the two of them, and then how the story plays out between them, and then how that all leads into Phantom Menace was just great in that book.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, with all the new material that came out after that book was written, a lot of it contradicted canon, so that we put it into the EU.
Yeah, like all the stuff with Maul and everything else. That was a big part of it.
Okay.
I'm sort of, because we don't have an exact time frame for the Acolyte, other than it's like at the end of the High Republic. So I'm wondering if like Pep and Chaco have been saying, if like the last episode of that is going to sort of lead into Pelagus,
I
Well,
and we can get sort of into that way, because Plagueis had to have been around for a while before he brought up Sheev, because Plagueis dies. Is it between episodes 1 and 2?
Plagueis dies right. I think right in the middle, either right in the middle or right in the end of that Phantom Menace, according to the book. Which,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, so he's still around in at the start, essentially at the start of Sheev's rise to power. So it'll be interesting to see when exactly they set everything, because the end of the High Republic is there's a lot going on. You have Dooku's fall to the dark side and him leaving the Order. You have the nonsense on Pajal. You have the Naboo conflict and the blockade, and in the middle of all of that, you have the um, sort of the rise of the Sith again. And to answer JJ, yeah, she's playing the lead.
who?
Amandla, I can't remember her last name, but that she's going to be the lead for the Acolyte.
Oh, okay.
this is my hopes for the Acolyte. I want it to be a Darth Tenenbaum story. And if you don't know who that is, Darth Tenenbaum was Plagueis' master.
Darth Hammer, Plagueis' master.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's Star Wars names. They're spelled weird and pronounced weird.
Let me see.
And so I want to be, and I don't remember. I think they're a Bith. I don't think it's stated whether they have a gender that they identify by, or they're known by, and they are. I would love it to be about their rise as a Sith, and then like halfway in to get Plagueis training, and then like you said, Cora, that the last episode Plagueis is on Naboo and he comes across a young Sheev.
Yeah, I think they could do. I think they're going to do something like that. Like, it just sort of makes sense, and I've been waiting for this story for a while. We need some real canon Sith lore, because we don't know anything about them, like, at all. We know in canon we know almost nothing. We know about Darth Bane and the Rule of Two. We know Force Lightning.
We know about the Dyad prophecy. We know.
Yeah, and we know about like, we've seen one instance of like Sith alchemy in Rebels, but like that's about it.
I really want to get into more of the alchemy side of
Who
the
knows?
dark side's powers.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you on that one, Pat. For sure, like, because it's just so much to it.
Because we know the Night Sisters' magics are more alchemy based. I really, but they don't. They're not naturally force sensitive people. They get the force. They access the force through their magics,
Mm-hmm.
and so I really want to know what this Sith magic alchemy is when a person is really a force sensitive, fully whole, like a Sith. Just the level of stuff that they could do has to be outrageous.
No, it. Well, yeah, I agree. It should be outrageous. Yeah, because I think that's where a waste potential of what's her name? Damn it. Dooku's huh?
Massage?
Yeah, yeah, Ventress. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
That was a waste of her talent, because she was force sensitive, and then she became a Night Sister, and then when she got basically booted by Dooku, she went back to the Night Sisters like, hey, he used me, abused me, and boom, they took her back in. She started adapting the arts of the Night Sisters again.
Yeah,
But
and
she didn't
then
really use it. She's still used the Force and everything like that.
If a Night Mother can raise the dead,
Right.
what can a Sith alchemist do?
Man.
and it's really sort of interesting because the Night Sisters, their power comes from Dathomir. Like for a very large part of what's going on. Like they only can they raise their dead sisters because of their burial rites where they return them to the planet. Like, and we say, and that's one of the things I love. We see them at the end of Dark Disciple, and I won't spoil it because Ken's in the chat, and he refuses to read the book.
Let's get the audiobook. It's good. I mean, if it can wake me up out of a nap on a plane, it's a good book. Like, I was like, holy damn, this is actually good.
Someone buy that for Kenny for Christmas.
I might do a giveaway.
Get in touch with him on TikTok. Find his address. Send it to him.
There
he
you
needs
go.
that book.
Just to touch on something, because we don't know about this new. Okay, when is the Acolyte supposed to come out?
Well,
I think is it 22 or 23?
Oh, it's not going to be this year.
Okay,
yeah, what is effectively this year? They haven't started filming yet. All we know is that they've cast the lead.
Okay, so they announced the new game, Eclipse.
Yes, that looks awesome.
People are saying that it's speculating. They haven't announced that it's High Republic, but because they saw Yoda.
No, it's more or less confirmed High Republic.
Is it? Okay.
It's confirmed High. It says I think on the website it says High Republic.
Okay,
on the official game site.
Oh, they got the site up and everything. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like the trailer looks awesome, but there's no gameplay and it's Quantic Dream, so I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'm not familiar with them that much.
What have they made? They made a bunch of games I can honestly say I didn't play. Like they made Heavy Rain. I played a little bit of that, like the demo, but Heavy Rain is essentially a movie you play, like the old. It reminds me of the old like CDI games.
Mm-hmm.
Like
okay, yeah, you're right. High Republic.
So they made Heavy Rain. They made Detroit Become Human. They made Beyond Two Souls.
Did they make the Cyberpunk game with
No, that was CD Projekt Red made Cyberpunk 2077. Detroit Become Human is a Cyberpunk game.
I'm not very much video game person. I do play. I love Star Wars Squadrons, but that's to an extent of all the games I play.
But,
gotcha.
But yeah, one of the things that I absolutely hate is the fact that the game Cyberpunk is called Cyberpunk because people just anytime now that you say Cyberpunk, they think you're talking about the game. It's like, no, bro. No, Cyberpunk's been around since Star Wars. Like, stop it. Like, even... Oh, now I gotta look this up. Hold on a second.
Okay, so while you look something up, here's the theory. Is that with the game Eclipse, Star Wars Eclipse, it being set in the High Republic, they can actually use that, make that this is going to be a canon game, and it's going to tell a story, because pretty much every damn Star Wars fan plays video games, some type of video games. You don't have to be a hardcore gamer, but everyone I would say who plays Star Wars, who had a PS4 or a Xbox, picked or PC, picked up Fallen Order.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
I borrowed an Xbox to play my first playthrough.
I never did Fallen Order, but I when I was over at friends, we played the first Battlefront. Okay. I did have the mobile version of KOTOR.
See, so yeah, we eventually play video games one way or another. So with this, I think that they're going to use this as, hey, honestly, hold on, I'll pull this up real fast. Hold on. Screen share. Boom. Boom. I'm getting not Revan, but I'm getting Plagueis vibes.
That looks like Marchion Rowe, if you ask me. The slate
Does
gray
it?
skin, the slate gray skin and the black eyes.
You think so?
I think those
Like
are Maxine warriors.
Max, yeah. Plagueis is a Mun, the Bacon Clan.
But is he?
Not canonically.
Not canonically.
Exactly.
That's. I'm sorry. It's gonna be. It's any information we get about Plagueis. It's gonna be very hard for me.
No, I think those are Rose ancestors. Like just like the slate gray skin and the black eyes.
On Pep's live last night, he was saying they're Maxine.
Yeah, he believes it. I think at the end of the I think at the end of that trailer there, I think that's got something to do with the leveler.
Oh, here.
Yeah. Can you play the trailer?
Can I?
Can I? Like even if you wanted to just to scrub to like the very end. Oh, there it goes. Like yeah, like this is definitely a war ritual or some sort of
Here, I'll pull us out real fast. Everybody get the full version of it.
Hopefully we don't get flagged, but we don't monetize. So
no, yeah, we monetize. We getting flagged. This is a trailer, so we should lose it.
Pep got flagged on his Hawkeye trailer.
That CGI looks good.
It does. It really does. This is all cinematic though. None of this is in-engine footage.
I can't wait to learn what the name of those little monkeys are. That's gonna be a new creature in about 2 stalls.
Are you curious? That's awesome.
I hope. I
want to know who those guys are.
I hope so, at least, because the monkeys look cute.
That's a man. This right here. That's got something to do with the leveler, if you ask me.
I tell you, Star Wars does know how. Lucasfilm does know how to go hard with their trailers.
Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope there's like actual gameplay to this game and not just play a movie, because that's what Quantic Dream really sort of likes to do. But as much as like Heavy Rain was like a cult classic, I don't think it sold that well. And licensing a Star Wars game is big bucks. So
I wonder if that's why they knew that they was going to do this, and they scrapped it. Star Wars was it 1313?
I don't remember what 1313.
That was going to be a bounty hunter game.
That's like a while ago now, right?
Mm-hmm. They scrapped it like when the first year that when Kathleen Kennedy took over.
Yeah.
They put a halt on everything and said, "Hey, we ain't doing nothing. hold on, we got to reevaluate this shit.
LucasArts, well, and they also closed LucasArts at the same time, which I thought was a tragedy.
That hurt. That was like my childhood. That hurt.
But now we have Lucasfilm Games, which is I hope that's not just a licensing division. I hope they actually get a development studio.
So this is far fetched, but I'm going to spit that out there. Just off that trailer alone, that protocol droid. What if that's C-3PO?
It's not.
You sure?
It's not. No.
You sure?
This is supposed to take place.
It's the High Republic, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how old a C-3PO is?
Anakin built him.
No. He repaired him.
He built him from scrap.
He built him
found.
He built him from scrap. So he found the personality matrices and did programming on them. Like, yeah, it's not 3PO.
You sure?
He found scraps of that droid design, and then but the personality matrices was all original.
Only reason I brought that up is because I heard somewhere like, oh yeah, Anakin never created C-3PO. He just built him, like repaired him. I was like, huh, is that true?
Yeah. Because the droid manufacturers make the parts. He just assembled them, and then give him a personality matrix.
Oh, he built the personality matrix? That's like the hardest part.
I don't know if he built the matrix or he found the matrices and just put them together, but yeah,
I'm gonna have to say he found them because Anakin didn't know 6 million forms of communication.
No.
Nor did he have the internet.
See, that's the thing. It says C-3PO was rebuilt. That's Wikipedia. Rebuilt from spare parts by Anakin Skywalker. He enslaved him. Okay.
I mean, it's a protocol droid. They're all extremely similar, except for 000.
That was a custom.
Yes. Like I said, I hope there's a good amount. It's supposed to be an action adventure game, so I hope there's a good amount of action, and I hope there's little to no QTEs. That's my hope for this game.
I'm definitely going to have to see a lot more because I like I said, I'm not very much of a PC or console gamer. But if it's High Republic, it's very tempting. Like I'm very tempted to get Fallen Order after all so many years. I'm like, after watching Brooke stream it, I'm like, I'm gonna have to break down probably. But like with this game, I'm gonna just have to see more from them until I do anything, you know?
Yeah. And Fallen Order right now is like $20 or $30, but if you wait till May 4th, it'll go on sale again because it always does. It always goes on sale for May 4th for like a week or two. I picked it up at that sale again for like 15, I think. So I think right now on the PlayStation Store it's like $20.
Hey, JJ got a point. I don't care. That's what I'm saying. What? JJ got a point on this one.
But yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be good. I'm cautiously optimistic for this game. I'm still waiting to see a trailer for the other one from Ubisoft, if that's still going on.
That is still going on. Yeah.
I'm surprised. Like I didn't know this was a thing.
They kept this on the wraps.
Like I read an article about it today, and it's like, oh, we knew this was coming. I'm like, I didn't know this was coming. I'm like, who knew this was coming?
Like whoever y'all are, y'all to get hired by Marvel to keep y'all secrets under wraps because God.
My most anticipated Star Wars video game though is the Lego Skywalker Saga.
Yeah,
if we ever get it.
Right.
I haven't played a Lego Star Wars game, so.
About my daughter, the Force Awakening one.
Lego Star Wars was my childhood.
She calls it Roblox. I'm like, yeah, we can play Roblox. Come on, so.
Oh, that hurts my heart. Calling Legos Roblox, that hurts my heart.
It hurt. I was like, yeah, she's 5. She sees her YouTubers play Roblox. I'm like, Daddy don't know Roblox like that, and Roblox doesn't look fun. So
You're gonna have to get in contact with Jay Skywalker guy. He's pretty big on the Roblox.
Is he really?
Yeah, him and his daughter. His daughter has a. She did hers up like Ahsoka.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, I gotta look into it because, yeah, we better start a vlog for her. I already got content. It's got a great channel. Cat lady says, "Did you see the Hunters game?" Yes, on the Switch. I've been
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
order it. I'm like,
I pre-registered for that
where the hell do you pre-register?
on the website.
It's called Hunters, Star Wars Hunters.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. That looks really good, and even if you aren't gonna play it, anybody listening, pre-register because it doesn't cost you anything, and we get free. Those of us who are gonna play get free content. So
Why not?
So what?
yeah. They have stretch goals for pre-registers for Star Wars Hunters.
Why did that? Star Wars Hunters. No, that's damn it.
That game looks interesting. I'm debating whether I'm gonna main the two the two, the two Jawas in a trench coat or the guy riding the Droideka shell.
Oops. Nope, don't want that. Nope, go back. Close that. All right. Well, yes. So that was a good topic, guys.
Thank
Really
you.
topic.
Special thank you to Pat for bringing the heat.
Pat, we do appreciate you, man. That was you brought the heat like no other.
Hey, you guys let me ramble about history and Star Wars, and I'm like, that's a good time to me.
There you go.
And thank you for listening to it.
Hey, man, so here's the thing: when you are passionate about something, it's always educational and it's always just very captivating. So, thank you for doing the hard work of all those years of education and
I
your
have my
doctorate and all
notebook
stuff like
of parallels.
But yeah, man, you had some great points and some good talking points, and we do appreciate it. I know the chat was engaged a lot too, and thank you for everyone who brought something to this stream, this podcast right here, because this you really don't think about it until it's in your face. And even when it's in your face, some people just don't want to accept it. So the fact of the matter is that we are able to talk about it and able to identify it it says a lot. And the fact that art is basically representing life and showing us what's happening in real time is crazy. So yeah, man. Yeah. So once again, thank you so much.
No problem. I've always thought and said, if you're having kids that are not understanding big topics, understanding big events, traumatic events, Star Wars is always the best way to help them understand things. It gives you these parallels, but in a kid-friendly way, and it lets them feel the emotions, but through a fun outlet.
Absolutely. So closing thoughts.
Clubbing thoughts. I was happy you guys invited me on here, and it's been great talking to you guys.
Well, sir, we're happy that you.
Also,
yes.
The background is I created myself. It's Tatooine.
That's dope.
That's Tatooine's orbital pattern, and I have Jedi and Empire logos for Anakin.
That is pimping right there. That's nice, man. Okay, all right. I see you. So that's clean. I like that work right there. Very nice. You should make that NFT. Seriously. That'll go for some money right there. But seriously, guys, thank you. Let's go around the horn. Oh, actually, Pat. So where can people find you?
On TikTok at same Pat Starfleet. It's what I have on the name thing. It's st.pat_of Starfleet, all lowercase.
Awesome. And yes, find him there. If you're not on TikTok, get on TikTok and add Pat. He's a great guy. We want to help him get to 1,000 so he can go live. and show off his good stuff. And as well, he has good content. He's about to be doing a series about the parallels of Star Wars and history. So you want to stay tuned to that one because it's gonna be some good stuff. If you like this episode right here, my dyad, my brother from another mother, let people know where they can find you.
I am here every bi-weekly. And I am also on TikTok and everywhere else. I am xcoregamerskillz everywhere. Everything other than TikTok, which I've been slow on because I started a new job. Everything's suspended content wise until sort of after the holidays, and then I will be getting. I have big plans for the rest of my content creation.
Nice, excellent. As for myself, you can find me here on Star Wars Conspiracy Cantina bi-weekly with my brother and always our special guests that we have on here that we love, such as Pat and many others in the Star Wars community talking about Star Wars related stuff, nerd stuff, and just in general too. Also, you can find me on TikTok under Jedi Master Depaul, all one word. Also, my content has kind of been ups and downs. I would say suspended just for the fact that life happens and other businesses. I have businesses and I work on that stuff. So actually creating something right now. So life gets busy and you always got to take care of yourself.
Take those mental health breaks. Take those mental health breaks.
Exactly. So yeah. So with that, once again to the chat, thank you so much for chiming in. It's been a great one. We love you guys. If you ever have a topic that you may want us to talk about or cover, please put it in the comments after the end of the recording if you are not watching this live, because we will be happy to hey, that's a good topic. Let's see if we could go over that one.
Yeah, and you can always feel free to DM me or Jedi Master DePaul if you want to be a guest and come on and hang out and talk about something that you're passionate about, because really it's the community that drives this podcast. So, if you ever want to reach out to me and come and hang out on the Cantina, feel free. My DMs are always open. If you can't get a hold of me on TikTok, there's Discord.
Yeah. So yeah, we're always willing. Don't ever be afraid that they won't have me on there. No, just talk to us. I mean, we're people. We do this for fun and for entertainment, and we like to talk about Star Wars. So feel free, and we like to talk to people about Star Wars. So feel free. And so with that, we're gonna wrap another one in the books, guys.
Episode 13. If you are feeling so inclined to get yourself some Conspiracy Cantina merch, you can see the link in my bio.
I'm so sorry.
Or if you're feeling like giving the gift of Joel this holiday season, we are also affiliates of Level Up Lightsaber, like so many of us in the Star Wars TikTok community. So if
you know what, we got I gotta get that link again for you so I can have the ticker and create the actual site for it. Our landing page for all that stuff.
Yeah, I can give that to you.
Okay. Because I'm actually gonna buy one for my daughter. I'm looking because she's been asking me a lot about lightsabers and fighting with those. I'm like, we can, but I guess it's about time to get her own.
Yeah, it's essentially a discount, essentially, if you buy it.
It's all good. But so yeah. Anything else that we want? Are we actually? 1 second, guys. For the people who are, you may have saw her in here. Brooke, our lovely Brooke.
Oh yes.
She has a amazing store. Greetings from far, far away. You can go ahead and get some good stuff from her, some good merch. She does custom jobs, as you can see. She has those lovely shoes with Chopper and Hera, and some lovely Rogue Squadron, Phoenix Squadron shirts. Those are nice. And she does jackets too. Look at that, Darkness Rises, and earrings. So you can actually commission her and get her good stuff and her good services for a fair price. I won't
She's
say
amazing.
cheaper, but more affordable than Disney.
She's
And it's
amazing.
custom. And it's custom.
She's amazing. I have a sticker on my laptop of Boba Fett drinking boba tea.
Nice. But yes. Brooke, you're welcome. We appreciate you, what you bring to the community. I still gotta get you some K-Swiss over there so I can get some custom R2s. But yeah, guys, anything else, my brother?
I think that's it. Once again, thank you all for coming out. Thank you for following us to Friday nights. This was something that sort of sprang up because of some real life situations, and I'm thankful for all of you for coming out and hanging out with us because, like I said, this podcast is for us, but it's also heavily driven by the community, and we wouldn't be doing this without the Star Wars TikTok community. That's how we met. So
Absolutely. All right. So with that, until the next one, guys, thank you again. We appreciate you. And we're going to leave out with this. As always, may the force be with you and
yep, no for life.
Victory
All right,
celebration.
guys. Catch you later.